Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're deconstructing the digital advertising engine. If you're an e-commerce professional, a business owner, or an executive, you already know that marketing spend is often your biggest variable cost. But what if a massive portion of that budget is just leaking right out of the bottom of your business? Well, you're absolutely in the right place today, because we're going to examine exactly how top-tier e-commerce businesses plug that leak and drastically improve their return on ad spend using display banner campaigns.
But before we get into the mechanics of it all, I have a tough, really essential question for you. Where is your advertising budget actually going? It's the kind of question that literally keeps CFOs awake at night, right? Are you driving measurable, scalable revenue, or are you just buying wasted impressions that vanish into the digital ether? To answer that, we have to look at the ultimate measure of e-commerce success. I'm talking about ROAS, or return on ad spend. Basically, it's the total revenue generated from your ads divided by your total advertising spend. It's a wonderfully simple formula, but make no mistake. This is the profitability pulse of your business. It's the true north for your campaigns, and it's the exact metric we are going to be hyper-focused on optimizing today. So here is our roadmap for the explainer today as we lift the hood on the display advertising ecosystem. We'll cover 1. Decoding ROAS and banners, 2. The digital advertising ecosystem, 3. Targeting, creative, and placement, 4. Mapping the conversion journey, and finally, 5. Measuring and optimizing ROAS. Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. Decoding ROAS and banners. We really need to define what display banner campaigns actually are in the context of your digital storefront. Every successful campaign is built on a structured traffic flow. Imagine a user just browsing their favorite news site or reading a sports blog. A well-placed banner doesn't just sit there for brand awareness, right? Its specific job is to reach out, grab their attention, and guide them directly into a highly controlled e-commerce conversion sequence. First, the banner impression sparks the interest. Then, it seamlessly moves the user to your product page, initiates shopping activity, and finally secures that purchase. It's all about intentionally controlling that digital movement to dramatically reduce wasted ad spend. Moving on to Section 2, the digital advertising ecosystem. Let's shift our focus to the underlying automated machinery that makes this seamless traffic flow possible across millions of websites and apps. This entire ecosystem operates through a highly complex, automated network of ad exchanges, publisher networks, and real-time bidding. To put this into perspective, advertisers are competing in auction-based systems that execute trades in milliseconds. That's literally faster than a human blank. Within that tiny fraction of a second, the system evaluates audience data signals, runs the auction, and serves the winning banner to the available digital space. So, what fuels these incredibly fast real-time auctions? Well, it's data signals. There are 3 main types of data signals used to match ads with users. First, you've got behavioral data. Think of a user's search history or past browsing patterns. If they've been repeatedly searching for running shoes, the system knows. Then you have demographic data, which looks at age groups or locations. And finally, contextual data. Now, this one is absolutely crucial. It ensures your ad aligns perfectly with related content, meaning you're showing your premium camping tents ad on a hiking blog, not a baking website. These signals are the absolute fuel of the engine. They guarantee your ads only appear in environments that align with actual user interest. Which brings us to Section 3, targeting, creative, and placement. Now that we understand how the automated engine works, let's transition into the distinct levers of performance that you as business leaders can actually control to stop wasting budget. If you want stronger ROIs, there are 5 critical levers in your strategic toolkit: targeting accuracy, creative design, placement relevance, bidding strategy, and audience intent signals. These 5 components collectively dictate whether a campaign thrives or fails. Let's break down that first lever, targeting. Broadcasting to generic audiences is kind of like casting a massive net into a completely empty ocean. It wastes an unbelievable amount of money. But segmenting by high-intent behaviors, that completely changes the game. Imagine targeting a specific user who left a $200 pair of shoes in their cart just yesterday. Doing that drastically improves your cost efficiency. You literally stop paying for pure chance, and you start paying for purchase probability. Next up is creative design. A clean, professional design captures attention, whereas a cluttered layout is the digital equivalent of shouting at your customer in a crowded room. It completely derails the interaction. Your design dictates whether the user stays engaged or simply scrolls past. Strong visual messaging with crystal clear product representation is just non-negotiable if you actually want them to click.
And this brilliantly illustrates a really profound takeaway. When design and placement operate together, banner campaigns achieve exponentially higher click-through rates and heavily improved conversion pathways. Think about it for a second. Putting a beautifully designed, sleek fashion ad right next to an article on a high-end lifestyle blog works so much better than throwing a random placement on a generic weather app. When your creative perfectly matches the context of the user's current environment, interaction probability shoots straight through the roof.
All right, Section 4, Mapping the Conversion Journey. Let's take these performance levers we just talked about, targeting, creative, and placement, and connect them directly to the customer's chronological buying journey. The e-commerce funnel generally breaks down into 3 main phases. Think of a shopper's timeline. First is the awareness phase. Let's call it day 1, where banner ads introduce products to completely new users who didn't even know your brand existed. Next is the consideration, or middle of funnel phase. Let's say it's day 3, and we use remarketing to repeatedly engage the user while they're reading the morning news, shaping their preference and building trust. Finally, the purchased, or bottom of funnel phase. It's day 7, and high-intent targeting and optimized messaging finally prompt them to pull out their credit card. The banner ad acts as this continuous visibility layer, guiding the user at every single step of that week-long journey. To put that into perspective, let's look at how this plays out in a mature digital market. The UK is a prime example of a highly segmented, advanced digital ecosystem. You have distinct groups like urban shoppers, mobile-first users, category-specific buyers, and returning visitors. Platforms integrate display ads across a massive diversity of spaces, from news sites to retail comparison portals. Maintaining continuous, targeted engagement across highly specific, fragmented audiences exactly like these is what improves conversion consistency and strengthens your overall ROAS, regardless of where your market is physically located. And that brings us to Section 5, Measuring and Optimizing ROAS. We've built the engine, we've pulled the levers, but how do we actually know this is driving revenue? We have to look at the analytics dashboard. There are a few core metrics e-commerce platforms use to evaluate campaign efficiency. We have conversion tracking, which directly links ad exposure to final purchases. We have attribution models, which assign value across multiple touchpoints. And we have revenue per interaction, calculating the actual financial output from each engagement. Now, why does this matter to you as a business owner? Because by utilizing these specific metrics, you can segment your performance geographically and by device type to constantly refine your campaigns over time. You finally stop guessing and you start knowing exactly which ads are printing money and which ones are just burning it. So the crucial point is, if there is one pulse check you need to monitor above all others, it's the impression-to-click ratio. Maximizing this specific ratio proves your ad has strong relevance and really effective visual communication. It is the absolute clearest indicator that your targeting and your creative design are perfectly aligned with user intent. And this all builds into the broader context of multi-touch attribution. A vital reality in e-commerce is that a customer rarely buys on the very first click. They might see an initial discovery ad on Monday, a consideration retargeting ad on Wednesday, and finally a checkout ad on Friday. Proper measurement gives you credit across all these multiple exposures. It shows you the exact sequence of banners that successfully closed the sale, rather than just blindly rewarding the very last thing the customer clicked. Which brings us to the grand finale formula. This is the ultimate playbook for your campaigns. Better targeting plus better creative plus better placement plus better measurement equals stronger ROAS. This summarizes the whole shebang. Everything we've deconstructed boils down to this one actionable takeaway. If you want to increase the revenue outcome, you absolutely have to relentlessly optimize every single lever that feeds into it. I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up today. Is your display advertising engine actually optimized for maximum revenue? Take a hard look at your analytics. Are you pulling the right levers, or are you leaving money on the table through wasted impressions and poor placement? Well, it might just be time to audit your campaigns and find out. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.